my morning, welcome to my day. Yes, I'm the one responsible, I made it just this way. To make myself some pictures, try to paint my dream. I think I made it perfectly, I wouldn't change a thing. La la la, la 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 la, la la la, la la la. Welcome to my happiness, you know it makes me smile. It pleases me to have you here for just a little while we open up the spaces, try to break some change. And if the truth is told, they will never come again. La la la, la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la. Welcome to my morning, welcome to my day. Yes, I'm the one responsible, I made it just this way. To make myself some pictures, see what they might bring. I think I made it perfectly, I wouldn't change a thing. La la la, la 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 la, la la la, la 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 la, la la la.
Welcome, everybody. That was really nice. Thanks. I enjoyed it.
We did too.
Yeah. Let's see here. We're gonna do. Oh, we gotta check and see. Anybody new here today? First time? We do. And did you get your red heart?
I did.
Perfect. We'll explain exactly what that's about in just a little bit. Why don't we do the heart song?
In the still small voice, there will be an answer. It may be a whisper, sounding like a dream. In the still small voice, there will be an answer. It is the voice of God. Listen for the voice of God. In the still small voice, there will be an answer. It may be a whisper, sounding like a dream. In the still small voice, there will be an answer. It is the voice of God. Listen for the voice of God.
If you're new today at Unity of Bremerton, we welcome you in the spirit of love. We want you to know, no matter where you are in your journey of faith, you're always welcome here. We know that the world is a better place when we are willing to share our hearts. We give you this heart as a symbol of the steadfast spirit that lives within each of us, and we ask you to carry this symbol as a member of this Red Heart Fellowship. Let it be a reminder that the love of God is always with you, and to share your heart wherever you go. The red heart is a symbol of fellowship in the world, can spread love one heart at a time. Let's start the movement here. And we're going to do our unity happenings. Today, we are just overwhelmed because we have for Joanna Gabriel.
No pressure.
Sally and Jamie are our entertainers. And the music of the day. Now, next weekend, on the 18th, we'll be gathering at 10, and there's Leo Brody. It's a musical Sunday, and he will be also speaking, so that should be real interesting. And then we have a Course of Miracles on Thursday from 7 to 8. And that's it. That's all we got for now. God works. Okie dokie. So, our weekly board member,
Yes.
Nora.
These tall people, they ought to all be average height like me. And Marilyn. And Joanna. So we have sign-up sheets in the fellowship area for the following events. The astrology class, which is the first Tuesday of the month. And this one will be March 6th at 6 p.m. The men's group is the second Saturday of the month, and the next meeting is going to be March 10th at 9 a.m. Yesterday they did a basic guided meditation, and next time they are moving into the more advanced guided meditation. Please sign up and so they know how much food to bring, because the breakfast is always included. We're considering having a craft fair in the spring and then again in the fall. If you're interested in donating items that we can sell at a craft fair, or being there to sell your crafts or offer services such as Reiki or other things, and you know, if you know how to do anything and will be willing to work, if you have extra special talents that you would like to share, or just come and help set up and be there and man a booth, then that is also a special talent. And the sign-up sheet is also out in the fellowship. Our e-blast newsletter, if you'd like getting email updates with what's going on here at Unity of Bremerton, please use the sign-up sheet. There's also a photography group starting on or beginning at February 21st from 6 to 8. Anyone interested in photography is welcome. Doesn't matter if you use a phone, a tablet, or a digital camera to take your pictures. Just come and join us for fun and learning. Our first family night is going to be February 24th from 6 to 9 p.m. with many games, watching a movie, or who knows what. It's time to get together and just have fun. No fundraising or anything like that. We need helpers in our spick and span team. For those who are willing to help and come in and vacuum and clean the church, please talk to Mary Ellen or Ann. The viability team is meeting next Sunday after the service and learning on ways to help increase our funds so that we can continue on forever and ever. Unity of North Kitsap holds a weekly meditation on Tuesday nights. Tuesday, February 13th at 7 p.m. is Anna Welch. In recognition of the Imboic celebration in Celtic traditions, our meditation will include a display of red and white candles. In honor of the up-and-coming light of spring, we will also get together to honor the light within ourselves and others. Meditations are in the Harmony Room at UCC Church in Squamish. And the board meeting meets once a month on the second Sunday, so we'll be meeting today, and we will always keep you posted on things going on within the church. Thank you.
It's my understanding the chaplains are meeting Tuesday evening. So chaplains are meeting Tuesday evening. Okay. And I can't find.
Thank you.
There it is. I'll be lighting the Christ candle. This candle represents the divine light within each of us. Join me.
We are a welcoming community, supporting our mutual quest for spiritual truth.
And our statement of faith.
There is one presence and one power, active in the universe and in my life. God the good, omnipotence.
Now is the time to greet your neighbor and say good morning.
How are you?
I gotta give you a hug, honey. Oh, get that Uncle Don out of there.
That's right. How about you? Oh, that's Oh, remember we talked? I heard you went to the casino.
I like lots of
All the way last week.
I haven't seen you in a while. I know.
We can find this stuff on
How are you, sweetheart? It must be like
No matter what I will say, no matter what I will shine, shine, shine. No matter what I'm gonna rise above. No matter what I let it fill me love. No matter what I let the light of God shine, shine, shine. No matter what I'm gonna rise above. No matter what I will be filled with love. No matter what I'll let the light of God shine, shine, shine. One more time. No matter what I'm gonna rise above. No matter what I will be filled with love. No matter what I'll let the light of God shine,
You're not on the Odyssey, right?
Yeah, right. It's fun to look at all those happy faces and all that hugging going on and shaking. Today's word, change. I rely on this guidance of spirit to lead me through necessary changes. I have learned through experience that change is an essential element of my spiritual journey. I have also learned that I have within me all the guidance I need to make the choices that will most effectively move me forward. Change is simply the consequence of choice. I do not need to resist it, nor do I need to seek it out forcefully. I relax and trust the guidance of spirit within to show me the changes that are mine to make and lead me away from the changes that are not needed on my path. If former negative ways of thinking reappear, I turn within to step boldly forward in faith. I rely on the guidance of spirit to lead me through necessary changes. From Isaiah 43, verse 19. I'm about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Today I rely on the guidance of Spirit to lead me through necessary changes. And God blesses us.
Absolutely. Yes, amen.
Shall cross that mighty river if we all go hand in hand. If we build our bridge together, on that other shore we'll stand. We shall cross that mighty river when we all get unified. Yes, shall cross that mighty river by and by. We shall cross that mighty river if we all go hand in hand. If we build our bridge together, on that other shore we'll stand. We shall cross that mighty river when we all get unified. We shall cross that mighty river by and by. One more time. We shall cross that mighty river if we all go hand in hand. If we build our bridge together, on that other shore we'll stand. We shall cross that mighty river when we all get unified. We shall cross that mighty river by and
by. Okay, this song is an Elton John song. When
The very first album.
Very first album?
1969, yeah.
Yeah, and she pointed it out earlier when I was practicing.
Well, I'm a fan.
Anyway, when I first played this song when I was 15 or 14, it had a total different meaning than it has now.
What year was that?
Back in the day.
Back in the day. It's a love song, but it's a love for You're not a ship to carry my life. You are near to my love in many lonely nights. Straight from the cottages, found myself here. Though I need your love protects my fears. And I wonder sometimes, no, I'm unkind, but I need you to turn to. I act so blind, but I need you to turn to. I lose control, my guardian angel keeps out the cold. You paint your smile on. I said I knew that my reason for living is for loving you, related in feelings. You're high above, you're pure and you're gentle, with the grace of a dove. And I wonder sometimes, no, I'm unkind, but I need you to turn to. I act so blind, but I need you to turn to. I lose control, my guardian angel keeps out the cold.
lovely and wise, Reverend Joanna Gabriel.
The lovely and wise, and in that order, of course.
Right.
It's great to be back with you this morning. I came from the yonders of Whidbey Island this morning, and the ferry was really smooth and nice, which was good because I went over to Port Townsend on Thursday, and when I was done and went driving back to go get on the ferry to go home, there was the big sign that said, "Transportation canceled."
Oh, no. No.
That is the downside of living on the island. So we went racing down to Kingston to catch that ferry so that we could go racing back up to catch the Mukilteo ferry back to Clinton. So this morning it was so nice to see that it was just very smooth as glass this morning, and now I'm anticipating that going back. We'll see. How are you this morning? It's kind of bright out there. Can you handle it? It's nice, isn't it?
2 days in a row.
2 days in a row. Wow, it'll be spring before you know it. Yeah, yeah. You know, we've been talking about that in order to heal this crazy world we're living in, we've got to do it from within. And it's very easy to say that. And unity is all about that. And so what I have been doing is looking for ways to help myself, to assist myself and those around me to be doing that. We talk about claiming in our songs and in the daily word, it's about God within, accepting God within, being God within, expressing God from within. And how do we do that? What does that look like? What does that feel like to you? Do you find that some ways work more easily than others? Yes. Do you pay attention to it at all? It's easy to think about it when we're all here together in this wonderful place. But how about on Saturday morning or Wednesday afternoon or Thursday in the middle of the night? How are you doing it then? How can you accomplish it or feel it or allow it, which is what's really the task, isn't it? Is allowing it because it's already there. The wiring already exists. It's a non-ending battery, ever present, ever ready battery. The connection's there. It's the allowing, it's the choosing to let that connection be. Let that connection express through you as you. That's the key. And so I was thinking about ways to support us in doing that. And one of the ways is looking at a lot of the teachers that are out there, because there's some wonderful teachers out there who've been out there for a long time. And one of my favorites is Joel Goldsmith. Are any of you familiar with Joel Goldsmith? Oh, good. Good. Joel is what I would call in-your-face spirituality. Would you agree? I was admitting that he has a few famous books. One of them, probably the most famous, is The Infinite Way. And I've been known to throw that book across the room. Yes. Because, just like I told Jamie, I threw the Course in Miracles across the room a few times too. I've slept with it under my pillow, and I have thrown it across the room. So there's mixed messages there. But it's about, Joel Goldsmith is so clear about the connection with Spirit, with God. So clear about it. No doubt about it. So I was curious, I don't know if you've studied him, how is it that he got to be that? Because he came out of a family that were not religious at all. His parents were non-practicing Jews. He had no religious upbringing at all. What happened for him was that he was born in New York City on March the 10th. By the way, there'll be a lot of reading in this talk. I don't usually do that, but there will be in this talk. So if that bothers you, just keep breathing. I don't have Joel memorized, so we're going to have to do some reading today. Joel Goldsmith was born in New York City on March 10th, 1892. And in 1915, his father, who was working in England, became critically ill.
And he was so ill that the family received word that they will need to receive the body. And as it turned out, his father was healed by a Christian Science practitioner and came home and was fine. Well, Joel was very impressed by that, so he got involved in the Christian Science. And there came a time when Joel himself got very ill. He had pneumonia, and he very nearly died. And when he was on a few of his last breaths, a Christian Science practitioner came to him and healed him. So his father was healed, and he was healed. So this impressed him greatly, and he became involved in the Christian Science Church and was involved for 16 years. And he started healing others. People started coming to him for healing. And it wasn't about that he had some huge, long historical pattern of connection with religion. What was true for him was hands-on healing. And he had had that experience in his own family and in himself. He knew firsthand that we had the power to heal ourselves. He got it because he experienced it. And that helps, doesn't it? So how do those of us who haven't had that necessarily get it? And so what happens is because people would come up to him and ask for healing. And so he opened a practice in New York City of hands-on healing. And he did that for many years. And he also started writing about what he came to know as his connection with God through healing. And he wrote books that were based on chronicles, correspondences that he had with a lot of people that wrote to him asking for help. In fact, some of his books were put together from like 5,000 correspondences that he had with people who were asking for support for themselves and others about healing. And so that's what he did. And there was a movement that was created out of his healing work that is called the Infinite Way, and it exists to this day. You can look up on the website, that if you look up Joel S. Goldsmith, don't look up just Joel Goldsmith, because there was a musician who scored movies named Joel Goldsmith. That's a different guy. That's why they call him Joel S. Goldsmith, because Wikipedia has to make a distinction there. So anyway, there's a movement that's called the Infinite Way that's very much about understanding and living from the place of knowing and accepting that God is working through us as us. That it's not about asking God for anything. No. It's about allowing God to move through us, to act as us through our moment-to-moment experience. Opening the doors and windows to that connection. That's what it's all about. It isn't God and you, it's about us together as God in the world. Does that feel true to you? Absolutely. If that's something that you'd like to explore more, I encourage you to read Joel Goldsmith, because there's no doubt with him. So anyway, I have several of his books. The Infinite Way is probably his most famous book. And if you've read things like The Art of Meditation or Practicing the Presence, that's Joel Goldsmith. He's all about prayer and meditation, because those are the tools for us saying yes to our connection with God as us, opening the doors and windows. That's what it's about. There is no question in Joel's mind, and hopefully in our minds, about, well, yes, God and we are connected. That's a given. It's about how are we allowing that power to come through us. That's the issue. And so I picked up, this is Joel's last book, The World is New. And it was written in I forgot what year it was written. I'll look really quickly. 1962. It was his last book. I think he died in 64. And so I picked it up and it fell open to the chapter 6, Be a Beholder. We were not born into this world just to do healing work, any more than Jesus came to earth to cure people's ills or raise them from the dead. Lazarus, even though raised from the dead, passed on sometime later, and probably only Probably only a change in the date on his tombstone was involved. The more clearly we can perceive the unreal nature of any form of error and understand that what appears to us as error in any form is not error at all, that there is not really either a sin or a disease that has to be overcome, but that both sin and disease exist only as illusory experiences or mental beliefs, the closer we shall come to being free of them and attaining spiritual consciousness, which is of course far more important than the healing work which we are doing in this age and at this period of our unfoldment. Do you get that? There is something I have seen in men and women that is beautiful, although outwardly they may not be manifesting it at the time. But undoubtedly, some of those individuals who are not manifesting it today, sooner or later will show forth what spiritual discernment enabled me to see, even when it was not in evidence. Imagine a world of such relationships. And that is the only way we can end war. Let us not think for a minute that treaties will end war, or that disarmament will. When war came in 1939, Britain was unprepared, but that did not prevent war. Nothing of a human nature will prevent war, regardless of how public-spirited the citizenry may be, or how competent, trustworthy, and upright the heads of governments. Tomorrow there may be scoundrels in their places who can overthrow in one generation all the good that has been built up over many years. This was in 1962 that he wrote this. Peace, therefore, must first be established in individual consciousness before it can become a collective experience. And that individual peace will come only when each individual realizes his oneness with God and recognizes that all the good he is to receive must be received from God, not from a person. Whatever good we receive will come from God, the good of our consciousness, which we are always attracting. But until we can receive it directly, we shall have to receive it through some human avenue. My supply comes to me directly from my own consciousness. No one is responsible for it. Today, however, you may be the avenue through which it comes to me. You may be that point of consciousness receiving good through me, and thereby I receive my good through you, but not from you. The infinite consciousness which I will provide my supply for, which I am, will provide my supply for me. And as long as it is necessary to have an avenue or channel, that avenue or channel will be provided. The same is true of you. When we realize that all our good flows from our own consciousness, we can no longer be envious or jealous of another's possessions. We can no longer let me say that again. When we acknowledge that all of our good flows from our own consciousness, we can no longer be envious or jealous of another's possessions, have a desire for them, or even a mild wish for them, because we can have all we need and want by opening our consciousness and letting it flow out. Breathe. When you and I individually come to the place where you have nothing that I desire and I have nothing that you desire, where we feel that the infinity of good is flowing from our individual consciousness, the consciousness which we call God, then we shall see how little strife there will be. And there is no other way. Only through an illumined spiritual consciousness, one which knows that the place whereon he stands is holy ground, can this be brought about. Why is it true that the place whereon we stand is holy ground? Because I and my Father are one. And wherever I am, God is. Is that not what we say in the prayer of protection? We are not two. We cannot become separated from one another. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. In the sick room, the prison, the asylum, the poorhouse. If only we can realize God as our individual being, we shall very quickly experience a change of consciousness that will attract to us all the good, not only what is necessary for our development, but an abundance of it for our joy. I come that they might have life, and they may have it more abundantly. The I within us is come not merely to supply our needs, but that we might have life and have it more abundantly, health and wealth without measure. There is no limit to the amount of health and wealth we can have under spiritual law, but always there must be a spiritual illumination. In this healing activity, our purpose is not to make human beings healthy or wealthy, but to bring spiritual illumination to them, and that these other beings will be added unto them. That is the messianic promise. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. That's what this means. Get it? That you are God in expression. And when you live from that place, moment to moment, life changes. And we need to get this now, my dear friends. This is what we came for. This is the whole thing. It's what we came for. Because this is what's going to heal us, our world around us. Not a moment too soon. Questions or comments? Anybody? Is this ringing true for you?
Absolutely.
Are you okay with the reading? When we live in the constant realization that God is our very own consciousness, and that this consciousness which we are knows our need and is forever fulfilling it, we cannot become lazy and sit back and call for an unknown God to do something for us. Neither can we just go around our human business and expect that all good will flow in. Rather must we learn to live in a state of spiritual expectancy and alertness, with an ear open spiritually, as if a divine message were waiting to come in, and we always at the standpoint of waiting to hear it. It is not the physical or mental effort that we make. It is spiritual awareness. Do you get that? Do you see the difference?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It is the realization of a spiritual power functioning in us and through us and as us that does the work. It is the realization of a spiritual power functioning in us and through us and as us that does the work. Making the transition from living humanly to living spiritually requires that the central theme in our consciousness at all times be God. When we are advised to take no thought for our life, it does not mean that we do not think. We think, but we do not think about the things we need. We think about God, and the more we realize God as the mind and soul and spirit of our being, the more we are really thinking correctly about God and keeping our mind stayed on Him, stayed on her, stayed on it. So how do we do that? How do you do that moment to moment in life? Are you sitting around oming? Is that what you're doing? Or what do you do? How does that work? Anybody?
Stayed on I am.
I am. Yeah. And what does that look like in your day? Let's say we're moving forward tomorrow at 1:35 in the afternoon. How does that show up? How does I am express through you tomorrow at 1:35?
What am I following I am with?
Thank you, God. A lot of gratefulness, even if it doesn't feel.
Gratitude, absolutely. We can set the tone for the day when we wake up in the morning. The I am, saying the I am.
Awareness.
Awareness, absolutely. This is the day that the divine has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Go before me this day. Lead the way. Show me. When you're in the shower, do you take your shower in the morning? Now, I'm not asking anything personal. Well, whatever you do in the morning that you do every morning, make this part of your morning ritual. Opening your heart, filling it up with the I am presence, the presence of the divine, whatever you name that. that essence, that life essence. That's the name. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. When we seek the consciousness of the presence of God, all things will be added unto us. This is being a beholder. Heretofore we may have been hard workers, depending on good, hard physical labor to accomplish our objectives. Maybe we prided ourselves on being faithful and conscientious workers in a human way. And perhaps, as we came into metaphysics, we became faithful mental workers and gave ourselves, our families, and our friends good mental treatments. All those things were stepping stones to this. From now on, however, we are not going to use physical or mental work as the springboard for our good. Now we will let our good unfold through and as our spiritual consciousness. Be a beholder. Watch as if you were looking over your shoulder to see what God is bringing to pass in your experience. The God that is right where you are. And it isn't about, oh, I haven't been good enough. No, it's right where you are. Remember, God, divine essence, universal source, knows who you are. It's from whence you came. That's why this idea that there's a judgmental God that we have to perform for is such a...
Yeah.
silly idea. It's a youthful idea. It's a young idea. Do you get that? It's like seeing God as an authority figure, like mom and dad. God knows who we are. God is what we're made of. It's what we're expressing of. It's we who get confused. It's we who forget. God doesn't need us to do anything. The issue is...
Except remember.
Except remember it. Thank you. That is what we have to do. And allow it. Remember it and allow it. That's the thing we talk about, the issue that, the thing that there, in unity, there's no dogma, there's no rules. No one hands you the rules. We have unity principle, but there are no rules. Why are there no rules? Because if we're following principle, the idea that we are God in expression, that God is expressing through us as us, we're coming from the highest good. Therefore, we don't need rules because the choices we're making are for the highest good. We get it. We're choosing. We're choosing for the highest. We're choosing responsibly. We're choosing things and making choices that heal us, that support our environment, that support one another. Because we understand that we're all one. That comes with spiritual consciousness, doesn't it? So we don't need to be handed out the rules. It's a done deal. The work is the remembering and allowing. Because the rules take care of themselves if we're coming from that place, from that awareness. Does that ring true for you? Do you get that? Questions or comments about that?
I think one of the greatest things was on the thing on Moses, you know, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not whatever, was when I heard it termed, if you would know God, you would not steal. If you would know God, you would not. So instead of rules, like you're saying, it's principles to experience God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember in the Conversations with God books, Neil renamed them the 10 Commitments.
Right. It was in his book.
Yeah.
That I heard that.
Yeah. It's because it's there's nothing wrong with having ideals to live up to, and no problem. And for many of us who are not living from the awareness that we're God in expression and in form, it's not hurtful to have these ideals, absolutely, to remind us of who we are. But in terms of what's essential, when we start talking, you know, the left hand and the right hand and the judgment day and all that stuff, it's like, whoa.
About the fear of God instead of the love of God.
Exactly. It's about the fear of this angry, vengeful, weird God who's codependent and needs us to be doing something so that he can feel better.
Needs anger management.
Yeah, exactly. That you never know when he's going to smite this or that, or the earth's going to open up and we're going to fall in, or, whatever. I mean, even to this day, and I think we've talked about this before, even to this very day, if you look at it, your insurance policy, you may well have a rider on there that's about acts of God. Right? That this uncontrollable energy that, may open up and take your house.
Make you run a red light.
And make you run a red light. That's something else. So you see, there's territory that needs to be covered yet, collectively, and we all help with the healing of that as you and I accept the truth of us in this moment of now, and in the next moment of now, and tomorrow at 1:25, right?
Right.
That's how we help heal what we see as a mess out there. It's like, really? And every day when I think that probably we've gotten to the bottom of the barrel, and it's like, no, we can go even deeper than this. The whole thing isn't about, ain't it awful, or, judging it or whatever. It's about, wow, what an opportunity for me to see that there's more for me to do here, right here. Am I accepting the truth of me and the truth of all of us in this moment of now? And that includes everyone. No exceptions. Why folks are out there being the way they're being is because they're operating from a place outside of this awareness. People who hurt other people do it from a sense of powerlessness inside. Does that make it okay? No. Is it important to understand where it comes from? Yes. Because if we don't understand, it's very easy to point a finger and call it evil. Right? Now, I know none of you have ever done that. I might have once or twice, maybe. It isn't about that. It isn't about pointing at anything, calling it evil. It's about being reminded that it's very easy to be hurtful to another if I'm coming from a place or sense of separateness. When I'm coming from a place of oneness, I'm not going to hurt you. Why?
Hurting you.
Because I'm hurting me. Exactly. There is no other. There is no other one. So our responsibility gets really large. There has tended to be over the last years of this thing, which we call spiritual bypass, where people realize that, I'm okay, you're okay, so that means I can do whatever I want with no responsibility. And what's actually true is as our spiritual consciousness expands, we have more responsibility than ever.
Yeah.
Because there is no other. And so we automatically take care of one another. Take care of our elders, our children, our wildlife, our animals, our skies, our waters, our earth. These are the choices we make because we understand our responsibility as one with a capital O. Questions or comments about that? Anything? Are we good?
Love it.
Love it.
Thank you, Joanna.
Yes. Being infinite, God appears in and as infinite forms and variety. God has not always appeared in the same form to us, and because of the infinity of God, may never appear twice the same. Infinity will never end. Life will never end. Life cannot end at 100 years, For life, being infinite, must appear in infinite form and variety continuously and endlessly. Body is one of the infinite forms as which God, the divine substance and essence of the universe, is appearing. The body cannot decay or decompose unless we accept the universal belief that we have a material body which functions in time or space. God is the essence and substance of you and of me as flesh and blood and bone. The flesh, the blood, and the bone are only our translation or interpretation of the divine spirit appearing as all its forms. There is no such thing as God and your body and my body. It is God appearing as body. It is the same substance and spirit of which our consciousness is made, and only in another one of its infinite forms and varieties. Look at a table. There is not table and wood there. You cannot separate wood from table. That's an interesting comparison, isn't it? You cannot separate wood from table. The wood is appearing as the table. There is no such thing as you and your body, or as me and my body. Nothing is appearing to you except God in infinite form and variety. Therefore, God is appearing to you as body. At this moment, you may be entertaining a material concept of your body, but you must change that. Your body is spiritual, formed of the substance of God or consciousness. And if you want to change your body, you must change your concept of body. And then your body will respond, because your body is the product of your consciousness. I think this is when I threw it across the room. Do you get that? And you see, it's challenging living in our world because we have a collective belief about the body, that the body gets old and dies, right? And when you get to be a certain age, about that time, does it have to be so? No, it doesn't. But because we're living in this collective consciousness about it, it's what we do. It's what happens. Now, there are those who get way past that. There's one sitting in the front row right in front of me, right here, right now. It's the relationship that we have with body, the acceptance that we have of our body, or the rejection that we have of our body. And we came into this life coming right into the belief systems of our predecessors, our mom and dads, our families. We took that right on as we came in. So for many of us, it's kind of a sifting out thing, isn't it? And it's so close inside. The beliefs are so close. They're so intimate. It's hard to even really know what it is we truly believe. It takes some looking, doesn't it? Have you done that looking? If you have any challenges or issues with the body, there's a good place to start. It's not about making yourself wrong. Goodness knows we do not need another excuse for that. It's about maybe for the first time accepting you're loving your body, this vehicle, this physical vehicle is the thing that has brought you to today. With all our really great choices of those times when we ate right and took our supplements and exercised and got fresh air and did all the things, and all the time we haven't. And here we are. That's part of the miracle that you are. Is this body that is right here in this room that brought you here today. So there's much to be grateful for. Even if you think it's not the right size, the right shape, the right hair color, there's too many wrinkles or whatever. It is the vehicle that brought you here this morning. Thank you, God. And many of us have had physical challenges and healing challenges, and many of us have risen above. Look at Candace. She's an amazing example of that. Woo-hoo. Is she not? Yes. Amen and hallelujah.
Yes. Yes.
She's reminded us of the body's resiliency. Thank you, Candace. And each one of you, in your own way, have had your miracles of healing, haven't you? Each one of you. If you filed past up here, each one of you. And each one of you are holding space for loved ones who are also having experiences, challenges. And in these days and times when things look really crazy, the body, as he says here, is that our body is our consciousness. It's a reflection of our consciousness.
Say it again.
Our body is our reflection of our consciousness.
Amen.
And again, can we look at that and accept that without judgment? Oh, see? Well, that explains a lot. It's just to remind us that that's the truth of us. And this body, whether if it's the right shape, the wrong shape, fat, skinny, whatever, and something in between, it's the thing, as I said, that's been holding us up, that's been walking us through this life. Thank you, body. Thank you. And we can go from here making choices about it as we accept its value, its power, its miraculous resiliency. And from there, we can make choices about what to do next with it. Moving it more, eating differently, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Questions or comments about that?
Yes. I'm finding that when I am less judgmental of my body, that I am more conscious of my spiritual progressive mind, that I'm finding myself with the ability to be less judgmental of what's inside the package, that you know, to hear like people like Candace, you know, sometimes to say, hey, I'm stronger than I know, I knew, or I realized, and to be there, you know, at a less judgmentalness of what's inside when we're more happier with what's on the outside.
Thank you. That's an important point, Nora. And that reminds me that when I'm feeling judgmental about me and my body and whatever, I have very little access to spirit in me. It's like the window gets closed tight, right?
Yes.
And have you noticed, too, that on the days you're more judgmental of everybody else is the day that you're feeling really badly about yourself? That gets reflected. It gets out there. Oh, man, do you see what she's wearing? Are you kidding me? I mean, really?
Who dressed her?
Who dressed her this morning? That's right. When there's a lot of that going on in us, hello, that's when I'm feeling the worst about myself. And so I direct it out there. Isn't that what we do? We send it out there. And so if you're hearing that coming out of you, or it's like, I'm sitting there and I'm going, really? Oh, okay, really? It's like a mirror. It's totally a mirror. And so then I can go, thank you. Thanks for the reminder that I can go back in, because when I'm coming from that place of judgment about myself or anyone else, I have very little access to source in me. If you're taking your temperature, it's about 104 at that moment. Thank you, Nora. And when I can get past that, and again, it's not about going to judgment about myself. Oh, well, geez, Joanne. No, okay, thank you, I got it. When I can breathe, because you can turn on a dime, that's the thing. It's the truth. The truth of us is oneness. So we can shift just like that. Breathe and go, oh yeah, I'm God in form. And suddenly, it's not so bad. And things are the way they are because of the choices that I've made. That's it. Good, bad, or indifferent. we can shift it in an instant because it is the truth of us. We think about miracles happening and we are amazed by miracles, but actually miracles are the norm.
Yes.
Do you get that? When we are coming from the truth of who we are, miracles are the norm.
Right.
We can live a life where we no longer call them miracles because it's what goes on moment to moment. When we're allowing the truth of us to come up and through and expressing through our day-to-day, moment-to-moment experience. And when we look at what we're seeing on TV, what we're listening to and whatever, when we can go to the place in that moment to say, oh, bless us everyone. Bless us everyone. Opening the door, I'm opening the doors and windows to the truth of me as divine essence. And I send that out to every single person. Because it's who they really are. And as soon as I'm claiming it, because we're all one, as soon as I claim it and you claim it, everyone else is closer to claiming it. Do you get that? We can do that because we're all one. And it's time, my friends. Oh, it's time. And so we talk about, because there is so much of the negative out there, it is important to balance it with the positive. And I really encourage you, and over the times, I'll bring other teachers to us to look at. But Joel is, as you heard me reading, it's just clear, straightforward stuff. In your face spirituality. He doesn't mess around. He just says it like it is. So, highly recommend him. As I said, he has several books. The Infinite Way is probably the most famous one. But I think you'll get something out of any of them that you pick up. So let's take a few moments now and to allow what we've been talking about to really come forth. Breathing, and do what you want to do in this moment of now just to get really comfortable. And see what you can do to breathe and to just kind of relax. If there's any tension in your arms, in your legs, in your face, just breathe and relax. And realize that there's nothing you have to do in this moment but to breathe and allow. That's it. Breathe and allow. And all the stuff that's on the schedule for today will get done when we leave. So right now you can just relax. Breathe and allow. And as you become aware, if you feel any tension or pain or stiffness, tightness in your body, breathe there. And if thoughts come through, just breathe and let them go. Divine Beloved, come forth in me now. I open my heart open all the windows and the doors. And just like that moment, the first time we open that window and let the spring breeze come in, oh, I let your breeze of love and light come through and gently caress me, body, mind, and spirit. Come forth. Fill me to overflowing. I invite you into my conscious awareness, moment to moment. Let us walk together. Let us dance together. Let us move together. Let there be no space, no separation between us. I am a vehicle, a vessel for thy presence. Light my way. Illuminate my mind. Warm my heart. It is a new day. And from this connectedness, from this sense of oneness, let us behold anyone that comes to mind who could use this holy breath, this sacred space right now. That for whatever's going on for them, this may not be where it feels like they're standing. And if there's someone you want to remember right now and bring into this space, feel free to say their names aloud. And together we hold Grandpa Don, George and Lois, and any of our brothers and sisters here in our community, our spiritual family, and our community at large. Here on the peninsula, in the state, in the country, in the world, on our planet. That as we allow divine essence, God, universal source, to come forth in us, to bubble up, embrace us, and move forward, that as we claim it, all life is lifted up in this moment of now. And for the opportunity to be reminded of our oneness. We are grateful, and so it is. Amen. Let's take a deep breath, and as you feel ready, open your eyes and feel your feet on the floor. Is there a picture of Paul Anka up here?
It is.
Just asking. Curious.
Did I tell the truth? Lovely and wise.
This is a song that many of you will recognize. It's from The Fantastics, which was an off-Broadway show. What year, Jamie? Remember? Anyway, it's called Try to Remember. Try to remember the kind of September when life was slow and oh so mellow. Try to remember the kind of September when grass was green and grain was yellow. Try to remember the kind of September when you were a tender and callow fellow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow. Try to remember when life was so tender that no one wept except the willow. Try to remember when life was so tender that dreams were kept beside your pillow. Try to remember when life was so tender that love was an ember about to billow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember, although you know the snow will follow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember, without a hurt, a heart is hollow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember the fire of September that made us mellow. Deep in December, our hearts should remember and follow. Follow, 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 follow.
As you're preparing your tithes and love offerings today, think about how blessed you are. And as you're writing your check or giving your gift, send out your blessings. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. chaplain.
Debbie?
Together, plece.
I give willingly and joyfully and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude.
Thank you. One of the practices we have here is to share with the homeless in our community. And we ask for a volunteer to fill a bag so they can eat. Do we have someone who will volunteer this week to fill the bag?
We will.
You will? I guess I'm volunteering. Thank you, Debbie. Okay, how about some good news? I'll start if you don't mind. Last night, Debbie and I went out to, what is it?
Kiana Lodge.
Yeah, Kiana Lodge. And we went to a banquet for fish line. And in, 3 hours or 2.5 hours we were there, they raised money for fish line to feed the people of our area. And they raised about $75,000.
Wow.
I think that's
I just want to share that Grandpa Don is accepting visitors, so I'll have that information up here on the ledge. But he really gets a kick out of they're calling in on the prayer line and hearing Miss Marilyn's lovely voice of hearing the daily word, and that just puts such a smile on his face. So he's checking in. And George is coming home on Wednesday, so yay. But he's going to need some in-home services, and a couple of us are going to go over and kind of move things out of the way so he can get around. He's using a walker and whatnot, but he's doing well. So if you want to see Grandpa Don, this information will be up there on the ledge.
And don't forget all these different activities we have. We do need people to volunteer. So, any other good news? Yes.
Yes, sun.
Really?
It's really first signs of
It's
spring.
something
I
good
know,
for all of
right.
us.
And I noticed buds on the trees and
I think spring's on its way. Did we have any children at all? No children? Okay.
Just ourselves. All the inner children in here.
Just the children of God.
There you go.
Okay. Chaplain of the day. I don't know this song.
Just read it.
I know.
It's a message.
Oh, it's a message.
It's
We would like to
new.
remind you that we have a chaplain on duty today. We warmly invite you to meet with the chaplain in the prayer room for one-on-one prayer time. Whether you have a concern or just something you want to celebrate, you can share it.
Debbie's the chaplain.
Debbie is our chaplain. So, if we all rise.
Have a seat, my dear.
All right. Hey, perfect. I do. Oh, no, there we go.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this
be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is,